What's up guys, Chicks here from Chicks Tech Reviews. So today I bring you a head-to-head comparison between two smartphones from the same company. So we are talking about the Realme 8 versus the Realme 8 5G. Now, considering both boxes look exactly the same and the only difference you can see is the 5G logo, one would assume that both phones will have exactly the same specs minus the 4G and 5G. Well, that is certainly not the case here. You've got completely different chipsets, different cameras, different screen tech. Even the charging technology is different. So effectively, you have two totally different phones here, yet they are from the same series. So Realme 8 versus Realme 8 5G. This video, we will be comparing the specs and features to find out which one is the better buy. And here they both are in my hands, side by side. So Realme 8 versus Realme 8 5G. Now, I'll give you an idea of the pricing first of all. So the Realme 8 should be around £170 and the 5G model should be priced around £220. Now, the first thing to mention is the design. Both have plastic backs. The Realme 8 still has that Dare to Leap logo. It's actually more visible in light. So if you're in darkness, you're not going to see it. But the 5G model does not have the Dare to Leap logo. Both phones, as you can see, do a pretty good job in picking up fingerprints. Now, the colors are Cyber Black and this one is called Supersonic Blue. So I will put the specs on the screen so you guys can have a quick read and you will see all the differences highlighted in red. Now, the Realme 8 has a 6.4-inch Super AMOLED Full HD Plus display with 1000 nits of brightness and a 60 Hz refresh rate. And the 5G model has a 6.5-inch display with a 90 Hz refresh and 600 nits peak brightness. Now, both screens look bright and crisp, but the 5G's 90 Hz display definitely seems a lot smoother in operation. Now, both phones are also quite slim and light. So the Realme 8 is 7.9mm in thickness and weighs 177 grams. And the 5G model is 8.5mm in thickness and weighs 185 grams. Now, build quality feels on par with each other. You've got a similar camera bump design, but it's quad camera versus triple cameras, and we will certainly come back to that. And the front design is also the same, and you've got hole punch cameras on both. And neither phone has an IP rating. Now, if we talk about processing power, we also have completely different chipsets. So the Realme 8 has the Mediatek Helio G95 Octa-core clocked at 2.05 GHz, and that is a 12nm chip. And the 5G model has the Mediatek Dimensity 700, which is also an octa-core, but clocked at 2.2 GHz, and that is actually a 7nm chip. And for graphics, Realme 8 has the Mali G76, and the 5G model has the Mali G57. So you have a slightly higher graphics chip in the standard model, and we will be comparing the graphics a little bit later. Technically, the Dimensity should perform better, and to confirm that, here is a quick Antutu test result. So the Realme 8 achieved 349K and the 5G model achieved 366K. So yes, the 5G model is slightly ahead, but not by a great deal. And if you see the scores for the GPU, you can see that the Realme 8 standard model has a much higher score for the GPU. So I'm expecting the graphics performance to be slightly better, but overall general performance is going to be a tad better on the 5G model. Now, I did play some Call of Duty Mobile on both of these smartphones. And the Realme 8 supports very high settings for both graphics and frame rate, with the option to max out the frame rate and still play on high graphics. However, the Realme 8 5G model supports a maximum of medium graphics with a high frame rate. So it looks like the standard Realme 8 model has a better graphics chip than the 5G model. And here is some gameplay footage first of all from the Realme 8.
Enemy taken B. Target down! Sniper down! Enemy down! Hunter killer drone deployed. Enemy contact! Enemy down! Cover me! Enemy down! Captured B. Predator missile awaiting orders. Sentry gun ready for deployment. Sentry gun deployed. Captured B. Zone it down. We've taken the lead.
And here is some gameplay footage from the 5G model.
We're capturing Bravo. Need backup. Tango down. Get down. Captured Bravo. Hunter killer drone on standby. Need backup. Hostile stealth chopper found. Hunter killer drone deployed. Capturing Bravo. Predator missile awaiting orders. Sentry gun ready for deployment.
Now both phones have DDR4 RAM, but the standard model here I have has 6 gigs of RAM and the 5G model has 8 gigs of RAM, and both have 128 gigs of internal storage with UFS 2.1. And in my internal disk speed test you can see that the standard Realme 8 achieved 415 read and 204 megabytes per second write, and the 5G model achieved a slightly faster 466 and write speeds of 220. So quite similar results for internal storage speeds. The 5G model is slightly ahead, but in real-time difference it's going to feel exactly the same. Now if we talk about the fingerprint sensors, the Realme 8 has an in-display fingerprint sensor and the 5G model has a fingerprint sensor built into the power button. And both phones also support a very fast face unlock. Now let's have a quick look at the button layout and the ports. So at the bottom of both phones you can see we have a headphone jack, microphone, USB Type-C port and a single speaker. On the side of the standard model we have volume rocker and power button, but on the 5G model we have a power button and fingerprint sensor built into one. At the top of both phones you have nothing. And on the other side we've got our triple hybrid SIM trays in both. So both can support 2 nano SIM cards at the same time and a microSD card. And you will also find the 5G model's volume rocker on this side. Now quick look at the OS. So this is Android 11 with Realme UI 2.0. I've actually installed only a few apps. I've got Call of Duty, Antutu and Disk Speed Test. Every other app you see comes as standard, and you can see that the 5G model has a lot more bloatware included than the standard 4G model. But otherwise you do have exactly the same features you would find in the Realme UI 2.0. Now coming to the cameras, the Realme 8 has a quad camera setup, so 64 megapixel primary, 8 megapixel wide angle, 2 megapixel black and white lens, and you've got a 2 megapixel macro. And the 5G model has a triple camera setup, so 48 megapixel primary, 2 megapixel macro and a 2 megapixel black and white portrait lens. So there is no dedicated wide angle lens in the 5G model. And I'll quickly show you the camera software and modes. So you can see at the bottom we've got night, video, photo, portrait. Then you've got your primary 64 megapixel and 48 megapixel. And under more, here are a few more options to play with. And the Realme 8 4G actually has a few more features there. So that's an interesting find. All right, so time to take a few side-by-side shots just to see which one looks better. So we're going to shoot in the standard photo mode first of all. I'll just take a few side-by-sides and I'll let you guys compare the difference. So results of the first shot, 4G versus 5G. You can see the color tones are slightly more accurate in the 5G model. And on the standard 4G model, you're getting a slight orange tint when it should be bright yellows. So the first shot looks slightly better on the 5G model. Next photo of this power bank. So standard 4G first of all. All right, and the same shot on the 5G model. Here we go. Again, 5G model takes a better true to life image. So let's see what happens in low light. I'll put it in night mode. And we'll take a shot. It's processing. It took a while to process, and there is the shot. So we try and recreate that same shot, night mode, 5G, a little bit higher. Here we go. Processing photo. I think the processing was a bit quicker. So here is low light result. Yeah, we've got some blue lights in the background, and you can see those blue lights coming through on the entire picture of the 4G model. But the 5G model was not affected by those blue lights and gave much better results. So it looks like just from these two basic tests, the main sensor and possibly image processing seems to be better in the 5G model. And I do want to test the 64 versus 48, but this is definitely not the right setting for it. So I'm going to go outside and take a few shots. I'll be right back. On the front, both devices have 16 megapixel front sensors, both hole punch cameras, and both shoot a maximum of 1080p video. Alright, so quick video test, and it's quite a windy day today. So we're shooting 4K at 30 frames per second on the 4G model, and we're shooting 1080p at 30 frames per second on the 5G model. So that is the maximum resolution supported by each phone. So you can see what image stabilization is like and what the video quality is like on both. Alright, so time to even the odds. We're shooting 1080p at 30 frames per second on both devices now, just to give a more real-time performance. So the maximum supported on the 5G is 1080-30. So I've dropped the 4G model down to 1080-30 to show you what to expect. So do let me know your thoughts on the camera comparison. Do you guys prefer one over the other, or do you find them the same? Do let me know in the comments. Now both smartphones have Bluetooth 5.1 with built-in NFC, and you've got your headphone jacks in both. Now both phones also have a single bottom firing speaker and support high-res audio. If we talk about battery life, both phones have a 5000 milliamp hour battery. Now the Realme 8 comes with a 30-watt dart charger, which means 100% charge in around 60 minutes. However, the 5G model comes with only an 18-watt fast charger, so no dart charging, and it takes a good 2 hours to fully charge from 0 to 100. Now that being said, both phones will give you a very decent battery life, so you can easily achieve 6 to 7 hours of on-screen time. So both phones are sure to last a day with medium to heavy usage. So there you have it, guys. That was my head-to-head comparison between the Realme 8 and the Realme 8 5G. Now this was an interesting comparison, as you would expect both phones to have the same specifications, and the only difference being 4G and 5G. Well, that was clearly not the case. You've got totally different chipsets, totally different cameras, totally different screen tech, and even the performance and experience on both was different. Now the 5G version does offer a smoother display at 90 Hz. You've got more RAM and slightly better performance with the Dimensity 700, but the standard model actually has better graphics performance and of course an AMOLED display. Now the Realme 8 can achieve 1000 nits of peak brightness compared to 600 nits peak in the 5G model. Also, you're getting a wide angle lens on the standard model, and the 5G model does not have a wide angle lens at all. And the final point to consider is the 30-watt dart charging compared to the 18-watt in the 5G model. That could be a deal breaker for most. Now 5000 milliamp hour battery is no doubt big, and the 30-watt dart charger should have been included with the 5G model, but unfortunately, it just doesn't support that speed. So it seems like money was spent for the 5G components and some compromises were made in return. Nevertheless, both smartphones are no doubt very good mid-range devices. The Realme 8 5G is probably going to be the cheapest 5G smartphone you can currently buy. Although 5G may not be quite ready yet, it might be a choice for the future. But if I had to select one smartphone from these two, I would actually pick the Realme 8 for £172. It's cheaper and only slightly behind in general performance. Although you are getting a better display, better gaming performance, you still have all the same features with the Realme UI, including 180Hz touch sampling, the NFC, the audio jack, the high-res audio. It's also slightly slimmer and lighter than the 5G model. And of course, you can't ignore that 30-watt dart charging. I'm still not a fan of the Dare to Leap on the back, so I guess I would cover that up with a case as quick as possible. With the comparison out the way, there is something I like to say. Realme are doing good things in the smartphone world. I do admire the efforts they bring, giving us bang for your buck devices, so great value for money, mid-range smartphones on a budget price. And to be totally honest, no matter which phone you decide to pick up from these two, I can still assure you, you will not be disappointed with the money you spent. And with that being said, I hope you found this video useful. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope you all have a brilliant day. I'll see you all in the next one.